What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. My name is kyledipeppe, and today we're going to be talking about a risk, I hate to say it, but a risk-free, kind of cringing saying that, way to earn over 60% APY, clarify that, APY, which is basically incorporating compounding interest on a stablecoin, USDC or wrapped Terra. But yeah, it doesn't really matter which one. Either way, let's just jump right into it. So, Francium. We've been here before, done a bunch of videos on this stuff, but if you stay on top of these things, there are some interesting opportunities that present themselves. So as you can see here, this is just a typical lending pool. So Francium is basically a leveraged like yield farming place. So if you go to something like Orca, which is a DEX on Solana, decentralized exchange, they offer these pools, and basically they're token pairs so that they can allow people to exchange tokens using liquidity that like someone like me might provide in one of these liquidity pairs. So on here, there's a ton of liquidity pairs, and right now one of those liquidity pairs is wrapped UST USDC. So it's two stable coins, which is a very interesting opportunity when it comes to like liquidity pools, liquidity mining, whatever you want to call it. And the reason for that is because you effectively don't have any risk of impermanent loss. And the reason for that is because they're both stable coins, right? So in the name, they're stable. They don't go up, they don't go down, they just stay stable, right? So in theory, they can move, they could lose their peg, but if you believe in the peg and the stable coin, there's no impermanent loss. So you're effectively just earning whatever the yield is on that pool, which you can see on Orca is 16.8%. Now what Francium allows you to do is leverage that. So if you go to here, instead of just lending USDC on here, which is not a liquidity pool, this is just straight up like putting money into a bank, and then the bank loans it out and earns interest, and then they might give you 0.04% or some measly amount. Well, Francium's similar. You can just deposit USDC, USDT, staked Sol, Bitcoin, whatever it is, you can just sort of deposit it there, and they'll lend it out to people doing the leverage yield farms, and you can earn this APY just on that asset. So sort of risk-free. Obviously, the risks are protocol risk, smart contract risk, right? Like, will Francium just rug you and run off with the money? Do they have some sort of like backdoor where they can just like liquidate the funds? And B, if there's a flaw in the smart contract code, can someone exploit that and basically steal or drain the wallets, right? Like, those are the risks. Assuming they've been audited and you trust their smart contracts, or maybe you've looked at them yourself, then in theory, it is like a risk-free 4% on USDC. So let's jump to the good stuff, farming. But real quick, if you guys are enjoying the content and you find this video or any other video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if you really want to help me out, I do have a Patreon, $5 a month. You can cancel at any time. I have a Discord, do live chats, but also just, you can ask questions. We can just talk about anything. I love hearing about projects from other people, sharing what I find, especially this type of stuff in those chat channels, if that makes sense, which I actually shared this last night. This was actually shared with me by another friend, so just thought I'd share this with you guys. But yeah, let's get to the good stuff, right? So wrapped UST USDC right now is paying 61% APY with 6x leverage. So this is effectively, I hate to say it, it's very cringe for me, but a risk-free 61% on US Terra or USDC. Either one doesn't really matter, because on Solana, you can basically just deposit one asset, and Francium and Orca, they'll sort of like automatically do half and half and put it into the lending pool. So the point is, if you believe in the peg, if both these stablecoins maintain their peg and don't drop, you can't be liquidated, and there would be no impermanent loss. However, if they lose their peg, and if they were to drop and you were to sell when one dropped, you could get liquidated and you would experience impermanent loss. So keep those in mind, right? So obviously, assuming best case scenario of both stablecoins maintaining their peg, it is effectively a risk-free, hate to say it, not financial advice, do your own research, 61% on a cash equivalent. So I know it's kind of a stretch, but 61% is pretty crazy. Last night it was at 128%. Obviously, as more people deposit into this pool, the emissions are getting dispersed among all those people, and so the APY will drop over time. Now this is temporary. If you click on this link, the Orca double dip, it does this, just take you to this Orca page where you can see wrapped UST, USDC. You're basically earning some like Orca tokens per day, but when you cash out, they basically just give you USDC or wrapped UST on Francium. So you don't really have to worry about like selling those Orca tokens that you get if you're going through Francium. But it's a very unique situation. So these kinds of like liquidity pools are very interesting to find and to look for, especially in a bear market where you may have even more risk if you just buy a token and it drops 50% in a day, overnight, over a week, whatever it is. Well, you just lost 50%. And if you are just holding cash, well, that cash isn't doing anything for you, or a stable coin, it's not doing anything for you. So what you can do is you can either come here and lend it at 4% interest, or with wrapped UST, 13.85% interest, or you could throw it into a stablecoin liquidity pool earning 61%. However, keep in mind that you're at 6x leverage. So what does this mean? What is the actual risk here? Well, one is impermanent loss. Now, impermanent loss only comes into play if you were to get out of this liquidity pool when one of these stable coins, or both of them, were basically trading away from that peg of $1. So if it traded down to 90 cents and you withdrew, you would realize that impermanent loss and it would become a loss. In theory, both of these should probably maintain peg, or over time just go back to their peg, because other people would basically arbitrage out that opportunity. And well, they've been pretty good over time. So first thing is I would pull up TerraUSD, and you can look at the price chart. You can see that there are a couple spikes where it basically depegs, right? So it loses its peg, moves away from that $1 flat line. And that sort of happened twice, but you can see that it goes back. The problem with liquidation is that it is triggered, or a smart contract usually triggers it. It's algorithmically triggered. So even if it depegs for a brief second, if that smart contract gets called and triggered, you might get liquidated, right? So you can see over here the all-time low, if you trust CoinGecko and the history of this, is 85.79 cents. If you think about 6x leverage, what that's saying is a 16.6% move against the asset would liquidate you, right? So you would do 100% divided by 6 is 16.6%. So $1 minus 16.6 is 83.4. I hope I did my math right. So in theory, UST has never traded lower than that. However, USDC, you can also see that this is traded as low as 89 cents. So I don't know the exact math on how these things work. If both lose their peg at the same time, maybe it's less of a down move. Point is, you could, in theory, get liquidated, right? So, two things. One, you don't put on this position. Two, you deleverage. So you maybe go down to 5x leverage. So with 5x leverage, the liquidation point would be a 20% drop instead of only a 16.6% drop. If you go all the way down to 4%, it would be a 25% drop, right? So that would be a huge decrease in price. And for no person to come in and arb out that opportunity would be pretty absurd. Now, not to say it can't happen or won't happen, but just keep these things in mind. That's basically probably the biggest risk, right? A black swan event where UST, wrapped UST, or USDC depegs, and you get liquidated, right? But the upside is you're earning 37% on what is effectively cash still, holding this. Now, if you do really want to de-risk, you could basically go down to just a simple 2x leverage, and you're still earning 21% APY on what is effectively holding cash. So just things to think about. Thought this was a unique opportunity. Thought I'd share it with you guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Yeah, love chatting about this stuff. I find DeFi super interesting. There's a lot of interesting and unique opportunities out there. And I thought this was one of them. Finding a stable, like stablecoin pair that you can basically leverage trade is very unique and very interesting. And well, a pretty good return still for only a mere 2x leverage. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.